Hello.
Here we are.
Welcome.
Another episode. Are you sick of us yet?
This is a bonus episode.
Oh, that's
They're spontaneous, so it's just Terry and I today.
It's a guest-free space.
Happy
today.
to be here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we got some. Is this Facebook or email? Where did we get this request?
This was actually on Facebook. Yeah.
Yes. So we had somebody who kind of knows us a little bit. He's been in our world for a while, but we had maybe mentioned that we had been married. This was going to be in May, our 38th wedding anniversary. So his request was, could you guys do an episode on successful relationship management or style?
That's a good way to think about that.
How do you stay connected to the same person for 38 years? And
just tips to success.
Right. Is it hard? Has it been difficult?
There's, in anything that you want to talk about, there's seasons that are easy and there are seasons that are hard. And so when it's easy, obviously having a solid relationship, there's no work involved. But when the
when you first meet that person and the attraction is like,
all physical.
Holla. Yeah. That's super easy.
Yeah.
And then you got to start actually talking about things that kind of matter, right? You can only spend so much time together thinking about how beautiful that person is, or when can I call her again? Yeah. When can we talk again? When will I see that person again? That infatuation.
Is that what happened with you, babe?
Yeah, that had to be it.
When we first met? Yeah. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Were you planning it out?
Oh, all the time. I would come
when you would call me on the phone?
Well, when you were working at Lazarus.
Uh-huh. Well, that was what, 3 months after we kind of started dating.
Well, but it was cool for me to come in and watch you work when you didn't know. It was this huge department store.
Like a stalker.
So I would come in and just observe.
But then I could sense him. It's what?
Come on.
I know I did.
Okay. Okay.
I did. Did that happen with you and Grace too, Graham? Yeah. Where you just couldn't wait to see her again and...
You guys let me stay in the guest bedroom? We just stayed together for days on end?
I don't want to talk about that. I'm pretty sure I'm not going there.
Well, I got drunk the first time I met you.
Right.
Oh, that's true.
I knew what you were saying, but I was like, I'm not going to call you out on that.
That's quite an impression.
No, but safety first for that too.
And who knew? He was going to turn it into her son-in-law.
Did you have a feeling? I could tell by Grace.
Well, you girls tend to know those things way before we do.
Yeah.
You knew we were going to be married way before I did.
Right, but I could tell by the twinkle in Grace's eyes.
You could talk about the same infatuation type stuff with cave people. I'm sure that since the dawn of time, there has been this chemical event that takes place.
It is.
People.
It's like this little explosion.
Spark.
Yeah, a spark, and then it gets bigger, and you decide if you're compatible enough, if you want to do the work to make the relationship happen.
Right.
But one of the things, and we're both kind of in somber moods today. It's been a weekend of sadness for us. We've lost some.
Yeah. We've been to 2 different memorial services each of the last 2 days for women.
Chiropractic wives.
Oddly enough, both chiropractic wives, which is kind of a strange thing, and at different stages of life, and in 2 completely different memorial experiences. Beautiful, both of them, but very different.
And so, it was just really special because each one of them was exactly the way that woman would want it to be for her. Her essence. And you could feel that presence, and you knew that was exactly the way it was supposed to be. One was very intimate, one was very, I wouldn't call it grand, but there were more people involved.
Right.
But they suited both of those.
Each one was appropriate for the person.
Wonderfully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it forces your brain into a lot of weird places. Anytime I'm at a memorial or a funeral service, you put yourself in those people's shoes for just a minute. And that's why they invented the Kleenex.
Oh my gosh, we've gone through
Holy
lots
moly.
of Kleenex.
Yeah. So I'd rather not need a Kleenex because we don't have any handy.
I know.
But it would be super easy to get into that gear. But what it does do is force you to think also about how have you spent 38 years with the same person?
Exactly.
And
because they were talking about their relationships.
Well, one of them had been married 43 years, and the other was 52 or something like
Was
that.
it something like that? Yeah.
So you're talking about 100 years worth of marriage relationship in these people. And not all highs and not all lows, but the level of commitment and stick-to-itiveness that takes, because it's not always easy and it's not always fun, but it's a commitment. And if it's a biblical commitment, that's a very different thing. So we don't think of our marriage as our marriage. Our job is just to not goof it up, right? This is God's marriage, and if He's ordained it, then it's not ours to give away anyhow.
Right.
So we focus on making sure A, He's at the center of it, and B, we honor as much as possible the things that He would have us do in that marriage relationship.
The guidelines that the Bible actually outlines for
Yeah.
us. And the
But
way
it's
husbands
been
take care
an
of wives
interesting
and wives
thing,
take care of husbands.
that we got this request, and then coincidentally we've had these two opportunities to really rewind your tape and find out what matters. And it doesn't matter how much money you have, and it doesn't matter what clothes you wear, and it doesn't matter what car you drive or the neighborhood you're living in. We're all coming into this world with nothing, and we are all leaving it the same way. Right. And so then the question becomes, how do we get through it, and how do we spend the time together?
And maximize it optimally,
Right.
like make it joyful as often as possible.
Amen.
Like the good outweighs the bad.
Yeah. But it's a communication thing. So anyway, you had downloaded or printed off some things, not
a couple
downloaded,
things.
but put some thoughts on paper to talk about here's what does matter. And not that we have all the answers for sure.
Oh, no.
But we have
Oh,
a
my
few,
gosh, no. Yeah.
right? We have a few over the course of time. And I would say, out of those 38 years, how many of them have been wedded bliss? I heard this. Norm Stuckey used to say at Rotary. Do you remember Norm?
I remember
Norm was a
Stuckey.
World War II veteran.
Yeah.
And he was actually
He was a
at
character.
Oh my gosh, he was at Pearl Harbor the day it was bombed as a serviceman.
Really?
Yes. Oh, just a fascinating dude. But he would, every anniversary, he said, I'm celebrating 32 years of wedded bliss, but I've been married 60 years, or whatever the math was.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he was a character.
So, well, then what would you say?
Well, I would say 38 years of wedded bliss.
I would too.
Like next to my own salvation, you are for sure God's greatest gift to me. And so there are days where I feel like I do a really good job of honoring and caring for that connection and that relationship. And then there are other days where I fall way, way wicked short, crazy short. But if you have, let's just cruise through some of the notes that you've made, and that way we don't have to get stranded in the middle of a conversation.
Yeah.
I don't want to do any more crying today. I'd rather really just take a break.
No. We need a break. Actually, I'm trying to find my notes here, so hang with me for just a second. Well, one of the things that I feel almost 100% certain of as far as your contribution to keeping our marriage happy is your gift of wittiness and making me laugh even when I just want to strangle you. And so you have always found a way to twist it around and turn it into something funny, or you'll just, just say something and it'll make me laugh, and it completely breaks the cycle of wanting to be mad.
That's how I do everything, though. I mean, I spent a lot of time in the hallway as a kid, like back in grade school, because and maybe that's just a way to I don't know, crack tension or smother up insecurity or whatever. But
oh my gosh! Well, we're not going to have a therapy session right now, babe.
No. But I have always appreciated funny things or humorous things, and interjecting them at the time of, hey, let's lighten the mood just a wee bit.
And thankfully, you have that perspective that you can kind of, like you said, interject. And it's really funny because the girls and I, we have our texting and group texting and all that. And he has group texting and individual texting with his daughters too. What do you guys share?
Stupid memes.
So all of them have this collection of crazy memes that they send back and forth. And I always know when one of them has been in touch with you because he'll be sitting in their corner going,
Is that how I do it?
No, that's how I would do it. You go, you do that.
But it's communication. And we're in this phase now where we've been through the married bliss thing. We were only married for 2 months when we moved away from our families. We moved 500 miles away so we could do my education.
Right.
We went to
We've
Davenport, Iowa.
grown together as
Well,
a
we had to
result.
figure out very, very quickly, we're either going to grow apart, because the first couple of months of
It's
marriage
tricky.
was hard.
But
Just
we're
figuring
not
out how to
alone in
live
that.
with
Did you
another
know
person.
that?
No, it's everybody.
Yeah.
But you go from that romantic, I can't wait to see that person every day, to, oh my gosh, I have to see that person every day. Are you kidding me?
Right.
And how to, leave the toilet seat down and put the cap on the toothpaste. And
We have
there's-
separate toothpaste
there's
tubes
all
now.
the rules that you just have to figure out. And so with no children, we figured it out. And then we went to chiropractic school with no kids. Our plan was to have no kids for a minute. And we left there 3 years later with 2 children.
Right,
And
exactly. So, yeah, there was some adjustment with that too. One of the things that you realized early on that would make it very important for our relationship was to have a date night and make that date night sacred. Like no alterations every
Non-negotiable.
week, non-negotiable.
Right.
And so you had somebody in the practice.
Well, we had also made the decision to keep you at home. I mean, we didn't put you in the workforce because we wanted to have, a stable
Right.
place to raise some daughters. And so rather than, we just made that decision. We could have, what do they call them? Dual income, no kid, dinks. We were going to be dinks, right? And travel the world, see the world, dual income,
It was also
no
called
kids.
yuppies way back then too.
Right.
Yeah.
And we had all this, free time and jet set. And then God said, hey, I'm going to need your undivided attention for the rest of your life.
That's what it feels like, right, Graham?
Yeah,
Yeah.
rest of your life.
Having children. Yeah.
Right. Because there's no days off. There's no shortcuts. There's no vacay. There's no, it is a commitment in your heart and mind forever.
Yeah.
Non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Which solidifies, frankly, in my mind, the marriage relationship. I knew when I watched you have our first child that there would never be anything that I would do to compromise our marriage or compromise our connection and our relationship. After watching, this is why the Lord lets the women do the birthing. Frankly, we could not do it, right? But it is a miraculous thing by any definition of that word. And I knew then that we, it was a solid commitment when we made it, but having children really just anchored it even deeper.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But it's important because sometimes the children become the center of the relationships, and it's easy because they need more attention.
Yes.
But
24/7.
you also, one of the things that I remember you saying is that you really wanted the girls to see how important our relationship was.
Yes.
That it needed to be that core.
Yeah, they don't run the house. They live in the house. We'll raise them in the house. But at the end of the day, they are an addition. So our marriage relationship always comes first. That's why we had a date night all the time. It's like,
And
here's
they
how we do it.
wouldn't be they wouldn't be the focus and the center forever within our home.
Right.
Like once they left, we still wanted to have a strong relationship to move forward into, these years.
And part of it is just making sure that you're getting to know who you married. You know what? Before you even ask the question or squeeze the trigger, it would be really smart to have some conversations about the future. Do you have the same spiritual beliefs? Do you have the same desire for children or to have no children? Do you have the same commitment to a life or a lifestyle? If you don't have those things, the physical attraction, here's what I'll just tell you now, the body I'm living in today is not the one she married, right?
It's pretty close though, you guys.
Yeah. Well, my point is your physicalness is going to change, right? Bodies are going to change.
Yeah.
The physical capacity for the body is going to get different. And so that can't be the only draw.
Right. 100%.
Can't be the only draw.
Yeah, it becomes more of an intellectual attraction.
Can you have a conversation about things that matter?
That's number 3. Talk more, text less, spend
Texting.
time.
I think texting is the worst thing ever invented
know,
for
it
human
really does.
communication. It is the lowest form of human communication.
Yeah. But making that time at the end of the day to really connect with, you always come home, first thing you ask, how was your day? Tell me about it. What was the highlight? Who'd you talk to? Like really delve in.
Well, yeah, because it matters. It sets the tempo for lots of other things. And you can tell when I've had a day where I kind of want to be left alone for a minute, or you can have a day, or you can tell when the day has been, vibrant and energetic and bright. And the kids could tell, when I was coming home and they were still there or young. And They could see very clearly. Here's when Dad's in a good mood. Here's when he needs a minute. We used to live only 3 blocks from the office. So, to go from taking care of a bunch of people all day and managing their challenges or their issues to switching into dad husband gear. I didn't have much time. I was only 3 blocks away from my business place. So there were days where I would just take a loop, right? And just take a minute to chillax. Right.
Yeah.
It's a long way home though.
So it gave him time to just exercise it out too.
Yeah. But so switching gears and giving each other that space. You were very good at giving me the space to say, Dad needs a little decompression time or it just giving me the grace to know that. Yeah. But it was easy too to see when I didn't need that or when I was really anxious to get home and be the dad.
And they would just run up to him and grab his legs.
Smother me, which I love.
Yeah.
So
you still love it.
Absolutely. They just don't live there now. And so, it's a different thing.
Yeah. Adventures together, memories forever, be partners in crime, explore new places, try new things, and create a treasure trove of memories. And we do love adventuring together and going to new places.
And one of the things that I used to find super annoying, and maybe I'm not the only one of the things that used to just drive me crazy is you wanted pictures of everything. Stop, let's take a picture. Stop, let's take a, oh, hold still.
Hey.
And I'm like, shut up. Just enjoy the moment.
Take a picture of you right now.
But you know what I'm thankful for? The fact that you did that.
Yeah.
Because now we can look back. And at these memorial services, I'm going to reference that as well.
Yeah.
Because the funeral home or the service place, they take those photographs and you got to see a view of that person's life over the course of their time on the planet. Because somebody was thinking ahead and making memories and photographs, and you could see their vacations, and you could see where they had been in the world, and you could see their children grow. And I mean, it's magical. So shut up and take the picture, right? Like, don't complain. I do still complain sometimes.
Well, this is new for you too, as far as just that awareness. But it's also very poignant to think about the fact that you can take a lifetime of pictures together and have them condensed to 25 minutes.
Right.
I mean, that will make me cry.
Shut up about that. Yeah, we don't have, there's no Kleenex here.
Yeah, I know, you're right.
Although I got long sleeves. So do you.
I do. Actually, you know what? I wore this jacket specifically because it made me, we were out in Las Vegas for another memorial service, and it was for a chiropractor several years ago.
One of our dearest friends.
Yep. And we got out there, and we knew that we wanted to do something fun while we were there. We knew it was going to be a very emotional time. We love that family very much too. And so we went to the racetrack, Dream Racing, and I drove a Ferrari.
Is that what it's called, Dream Racing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's somewhere on here. And it is, yeah. And so I drove a really sassy, sexy red Ferrari around the track 5 times. And it was so amazing. And Terry had a Porsche. But we just, in this jet, whenever I wear this, it just makes me think about the fact that we need to do the things that we love to do, and we should do them with the people that we love.
And it might just be a walk in the woods. It doesn't have to be racing an exotic car for the afternoon.
But it's something that sounded very exciting for that moment.
And it was fitting for the person that we were there to memorialize, right? Yeah. He would have been in on that. Mm-hmm.
So just things like that, taking adventures together. We've always been really open for that. We've taken some really cool, fun trips, and we've taken pictures and we've taken videos. And now I have, kind of like...
It's crazy.
Yeah, I call them video scrapbooks. And so I just take those and I kind of mash them all together to get just a 3-minute...
Well, you have actual paper books as well, where our photographs have been compressed into actual hardbound books. They're beautiful. But one of the things I'll say is give your person grace to plan those things. You are a planner extraordinaire. If it's a trip or vacation, I'm the guy who would buy the tickets. Like, I could show up at the airport with a MasterCard or Visa and not know where we're going, and we could land in Rome. I wouldn't pack. I wouldn't, we would just get what we needed and wing it along the way. Where are you going to sleep? We don't know. I could do that. You are 100% the opposite.
I am.
I want to know this. I want to know this. It's got to be laid out in detail and detail and detail. Somewhere between us is probably a normal person.
Yeah. It's just, for me personally, having a plan in place eliminates question marks for the most part.
Well.
And yes.
Even this.
Right. Because I mean, you're really good at just kind of winging it.
That's just
if
how
you
I
like
do
to
things.
say it.
But I'm so
I like to
thankful
plan.
that you are the planner. Was where I was going with that.
Yeah.
Because without the plan, without can you leave room for spontaneous fun? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But without the plan, none of the extraordinary things that we've done would be nearly as extraordinary. And so, hey, I want to go see the butterflies in Mexico. And I'm like, well, wait 6 weeks. They'll be here in Ohio. We don't have to go anywhere. So we picked a trip to central Mexico, which is not the safest place for
Literally in the middle of Mexico. How long do we drive? 2 hours from Mexico City
with a guy who spoke no English and we never met.
We could not
little
communicate
Ford Fiesta, like our luggage barely fit in his car.
No air conditioning. The windows were down.
It was terrifying for a minute.
Just for a minute. It was really, I mean, you could feel his spirit. It was a good,
No, it was fine. It worked out really, really well. But what I thought was going to be kind of a foolish thing to do turned out to be one of the most extraordinary things probably we've ever done. To see millions of these monarch butterflies getting ready to launch into a migration that goes through all the way through Canada and back. So
and takes 4 cycles per butterfly.
Craziness.
Yeah, it is
but
crazy.
Extraordinary.
Yeah.
So, and not that everybody's going to want to do things that seem that extraordinary. But my point there is give your person the grace to dream on those things and the resources to feel safe to make the recommendation.
Yeah, and prioritize
Because
that.
I wouldn't have done
priority.
that. That wouldn't have been something on my list. And it turned out to be one of the most fascinating things we've ever done.
Yeah, we met some really cool people.
Yeah.
So the 5th thing is the art of compromise. Marriage is like a dance. Sometimes you lead, sometimes you follow. Find the rhythm of give and take.
I've seen a lot of people do the tit for tat thing. Like she did this, so I'm going to do that, or he did that.
He
so
bought
I'm
this, so
gonna
I'm
do
going to
this.
buy this.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Or
such
I'm
a
gonna
bad
rub
way.
his nose in it, or she's going to get, she'll
Nobody
be sorry. That doesn't honor your marriage relationship. That doesn't honor what God has in mind for a marriage relationship. And it makes it, that level of abrasiveness has no place in a long-term commitment, right? And so while you may not always be happy with that person or their decision or their behavior, you do got to be happy with the fact that it's not yours to goof up, and your job is to make it as good as you can make it, not rub it in.
Right. Yeah, 100%. And if there's, if something has happened, if they did something, whether it's to hurt your feelings or, just something that you didn't necessarily agree with, just also knowing that you can still be kind to them and not be like, you big dummy, or, just calling people out. We all make mistakes.
I think it's important to remember that thoughts are things. Thoughts turn into words. Words turn into actions. Actions turn into behaviors, right? So if you're thinking negative things about your person, 2 things. First of all, remember you picked them. Like they're your person. And when you say or think negative things about that person, you're reflecting on yourself.
It's so true.
Like it's like you were the boob that picked that person. Why would you be thinking negative things about that person? But you got to remember that thoughts are things. Thoughts change physiology. Thoughts go into the universe at a vibrational frequency that matters. So it's really very important to keep those things on a positive tone.
I love that, babe. Yeah.
And it's not negotiable. It's so powerful to just understand that thoughts are things and that your words matter. Words are like, toothpaste in a tube. Once they're coming out, you can't get toothpaste back in the tube. So think before you speak and put the words together in a way that is loving and caring and positive and reinforcing, as opposed to sharp and sarcastic and unkind. There's no room in that if you want 38 years of it, 50 years of it, 60 years of it. How long were your grandparents married?
Oh, my
Was it
gosh.
66?
Oh, maybe even longer, babe.
Because we went to their 60th wedding anniversary in Boston. That's when we got our luggage stolen
Oh my gosh,
out of the trunk of the car.
crazy.
But that was her 60th. And I remember thinking at the time, holy cow.
At least 70 then.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe. I'll do some digging. I'll let you guys know.
But that also lets you know that you're genetically programmed. How old was Nonna when she passed? 93?
Yeah,
Ish.
somewhere around there.
So your grandparents and your people, that's your genetic window to the future.
Right.
So if you've got people that are on the planet that long, you might want to tap them on the shoulder for some good advice.
Yeah.
Like, not only did you make it 60 years of marriage or 70 years of marriage, what'd you do to stay on the planet that long? So looking around to some of our seasoned citizens for some advice is never a bad idea.
No, it's a good idea.
We're kind of
Okay,
turning
so
into those people. Go ahead.
Number 6, keep the mystery alive, surprise each other, leave love notes, plan unexpected outings, and keep the element of surprise alive. Okay, but know your person, because I hate surprises, and he knows this. And so he's not going to surprise me like in a way that's going to make me feel uncomfortable.
You're
But
barely surprisable.
he does drop a note into snail mail, and when I get it, it's very precious to me, and I tuck it in my Bible, and it will be there
For those of you who
posterity.
don't know, what is snail mail?
USPS, United States Postal Service.
It's
It
pen
gets
to
there the
paper.
long way. Yeah, it's pen
And
to
you know
paper.
what I love about that is it doesn't go away so readily as a text. And it
And-
doesn't go into the universe. Once you text something,
Yeah, but you know what? It's so much deeper than that, babe, because when I see your actual handwriting,
right?
oh my gosh, there's just something so special. Like I connect to
Like
it.
you
in
can
a
barely
totally
read it. It's so horrible.
I can read into it whatever I want. No, it's just so much better than just a typewritten note.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, email's nice, but
Yeah.
that's because, and you can read it, but it's not the same as selecting a card.
So the way I surprise Terry is I'll do the laundry every once in a while. And you like that, right, babe?
Acts of service.
That's true. Yeah, we can talk about love languages probably another day because I don't want this to be too long. Hug it out is number 7. Never underestimate the power of a hug. It's the perfect way to say I'm here for you without saying a word, especially over the past couple months. It's just been, these last 2 days have been very
Emotional.
but it's really been the last 4 months of our lives that it's just been really a tricky time. And there's nothing that either one of us can say to each other to make it okay, to make it better. But a hug just shares that heart-to-heart connection, and there's no words that are necessary.
You got to have her stand on a step. If we're going to, I mean, I know I love hugging
Or heart to heart,
yeah,
yeah.
because I'm a little bit taller. But yeah, if it's going to be heart to heart, I either got to squat way down or put you on a step, which works out pretty well.
Yeah, it does. The 8th thing is the forgiveness formula. Learn to forgive and forget. Holding grudges is like carrying extra baggage, and it only weighs you down.
Oh,
So
and
learning.
again, thoughts are things.
Yeah.
They change physiology. You can think about things and make yourself cry. You can
Right.
think about things and make your stomach, you can think about food and your stomach will respond. So just getting the hang of that. Thoughts are things. They change physiology. And once they go into the universe, it's significantly more powerful than a text message, right? Because it is in the universe now
Yeah.
at a frequency that either does harm or does good. It's not neutral.
Yeah. Yeah. That is so true. The 9th thing is dream team. Support each other's dreams and goals. Be each other's biggest cheerleader and toughest coach.
So let's say I came to you later this evening and we're going to get together with Grace and Graham and Honey and we're going to have some food but what if I came to you and said, you know what? I think I'm going to quit my job and join the circus. I really want to be that guy who does the trapeze and I think I can do it. I'm only 62. I think I can pull this off. What would you say?
Well, see, at first I would think you're telling me a joke. But you know what I would say?
What would you say?
Let's make it happen.
That's the thing.
I'd say we'll
you would
find a
give me
way.
the space to realize it was completely ridiculous without shooting it out of the sky for
Yeah,
me.
I would never just say that is the dumbest
That's
thing I've ever
darn
heard.
hell.
No, I would, and you would do the same thing for me. In fact, this past week has been really stressful. I was trying to figure out MailChimp of all things, and he knew I was really struggling. But you were like, "Don't give up.
Hang in
you're,
there.
You're gonna get it.
You're one of the
through it."
smartest people I know. Your
But I was
MailChimp's
really-
not going to bring you down.
I know, but I was really struggling. So he was really had his pom poms on and getting me through it, and I did.
And then I just stayed out of the area.
Also, good to know. Like,
I'll be in the garage. That's okay.
I'll be in the annex. Number 10 is say I love you in 100 ways. Don't just say it with words, show it through actions, gestures, and the little things that matter. Both of us are acts of service people from the Love Languages book.
And words of affirmation.
And words of affirmation too.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, working a little physical touch never hurts.
Another episode, maybe.
Not.
So 10, here's just a couple of things. Cook their favorite meal, listen attentively, spend that quality time together. Encourage, like what we were talking about, eye contact and smiling when somebody is trying to have a conversation with you, when you're trying to talk to me.
If your phone's anywhere in the general vicinity, I'll probably throw it in the bathtub or something.
Actually, one of the things you'll do is you'll wait until you know it's an okay time. Because if I'm on my phone, I'm probably working.
Right.
And so you're really good at finding the right time to say the right words.
And I think the phone has been the bane of everybody's communication existence.
I do think that's true. But you know what I think is interesting too is way back in the day, probably I'm thinking 1950s, we had watched the Mary Tyler Moore show. And this reminded me of that. So our current telephones are the old-fashioned newspaper, because that also, when those men had up newspapers.
Oh, that was Dick Van Dyke, the Dick Van Dyke show.
Yeah. Oh, you're right.
With
Yeah.
Mary Tyler Moore in it.
There we go.
But yeah, he would put the paper
And
up.
it's like, yeah, it was like the barrier was there. Well,
Yeah.
our phones are the same thing. So it's not really any different. It's just a different media.
Well,
that we
but it's
have.
also so pervasive. You know, if you went into a restaurant in the 50s, you wouldn't see 4 people sitting around reading the paper. You would see 4 people having dinner and actually having
Right, a
conversation.
conversation.
But if you go into any restaurant in the here and now, you will see
Mm-hmm.
4 people looking at a phone having no conversation, eyes down, head down, posture down.
Yeah.
It's just wrecked it, you know, so much. So one of the things that's critical is undivided attention.
Mm-hmm.
If we're going to have a conversation, let's be in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's not be, I don't want to be answering this text message while I'm trying to hear something that's important from you.
Right.
Put the dang thing down, put it away.
Yeah. Yeah. So those were the 10 points. You know, it's basically building a strong foundation, creating that communication, mutual respect, setting shared goals early on.
Yes.
So getting that foundation. Getting through those early years with some of those tips.
There's a learning curve.
Yeah, there's definitely
it's
a learning
easy
curve.
all the time. There's a curve to
Give each
to
other
learn.
grace.
Yeah.
And then adapting to the changes as you go along. Each decade is going to have different challenges. We can assure you of that. And so during those difficult times, there's 2 things that'll happen. Either you'll grow closer or you'll grow further apart.
Right. Sometimes people pick the wrong person. And
Sometimes that's true. But sometimes when life brings us those challenges, like a death in the family, or, you know, when Grace had her accident, and it was
Right.
a really trying time. My dad died the same year. We had an IRS audit. I had double pneumonia. And that was a really, really stressful time. That was the hardest year, I think. That was 2007.
it was
we were
brutal.
building this building,
Yeah,
setting
we're
up a new
construction
practice.
project.
And it was easy to just be so stuck on me that I would just disconnect from you.
Right.
And so I felt like during that time, it was the hardest, but it's when we worked most diligently to stay together. Instead of going this way, we merged closer.
Yeah. Yeah, the valleys can be really, really deep.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're on the mountaintop, it can be really, really wonderful
It
as
is.
well.
And just know that that's the cycle of life.
And you got to get through that valley with your person, not without your
Yes.
person.
Drag them if you have to.
No man left behind.
So keeping the spark alive, you know, making sure that you have that romance and intimacy, overcoming the challenges with resilience and forgiveness. And then in the golden years, are we in the golden years? Ben?
No.
Are we?
No.
Okay. So just enjoying that journey together and just staying active and engaged and supportive.
I think in 20 years, we'll be in the golden years. Like right now, we're in the thick of it. I mean, we're still very vibrant.
That's
we're still
true.
busy.
Is
we're
50
still
the
growing.
golden years? 50, that's the golden anniversary. That's when that's the golden years.
So yeah, we got
So
a
we'll
while.
go with that.
We got a while.
Yeah. One of the things that I just recently uncovered, you know, not necessarily in our relationship specifically, but, you know, other relationships in our lives. And it's the concept of puddles and leaks. And I am a huge fan of James Clear and Atomic Habits.
Okay.
And so I get his newsletter every week. It goes out on Thursdays. It's delightful. We will definitely drop that into the link because, you know, I get a lot of spam email, but this is one that I look forward to getting every Thursday. And it is just, he calls it 3-2-1 Thursday, and it's 3 ideas from him, 2 quotes from others, and a question that he presents. This happened to be under one of his 3 ideas. And he says, I split problems with 2 groups, muddy puddles and leaky ceilings. Some problems are like muddy puddles. The way to clear a muddy puddle is to leave it alone. The more you mess with it, the muddier it becomes. Many of the problems I dream up when I'm overthinking or worrying or ruminating fall into this category. Is life really falling apart, or am I just in a sour mood? Is this as hard as I'm making it, or do I just need to go work out? Drink some water, go for a walk, get some sleep, go do something else, and give the puddle time to turn clear. Other problems are like a leaky ceiling. Ignore a small leak and it will always widen. Relationship tension that goes unaddressed, overspending that becomes a habit, one missed workout drifting into months of inactivity. Some problems multiply when left unattended. You need to intervene now. So a good thing to think about is, are we dealing with a leak or a puddle?
Gold. Pure gold.
It is gold. You know, the only thing that would be missing from the leaky ceiling for me is people's health. You know, I feel like if you can catch something early, whatever that is, you know, having a headache and then
We
letting
preach that every day.
Yeah.
We've been preaching that for 38 years as well.
Right. But
Taking
that's
care of your health is, yeah, you don't wait for leaks. You manage your roof.
Yeah, it's true. And sometimes muddy puddles can be on a flat roof. We dealt with a flat roof at our other office. And so it can be both things. And I think it's important to have good discernment and figure out where it is, because the leaky ceiling part is more of a confrontation. You know that you're going to have a conversation to get something to change.
And it is a good analogy to think about it. Every time you stir the puddle, it just stays muddy.
Right.
You don't even have to add mud. You just get to keep stirring the mud that's already there. And so leaving things alone and letting things settle. And that might be where you got to maybe work in some apologetic behavior as well.
Yeah.
Like apologizing for your role in stirring the mud. I'm sorry is a powerful couple of words. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Can really clear a lot of mud.
Yeah. Yeah. Or fix a leaky ceiling.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
But I just wanted to add that because I found that really poignant this week for a lot of reasons. And I just wanted to throw that in there. Yeah.
So if you have other things that you want us to cover from future episodes like this one, like I said, this was a request.
Yeah.
And we love fulfilling requests. If you're paying attention, we're happy to interject wherever we can. We don't know everything, but we we know some things.
We can share what we've done.
100%. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, good at figuring things out. Hopefully we can. I think the other request from this young man was about families, raising young families. So we can delve back into those archives of photos.
Holy cow.
And bring up some really fun stuff. Yeah. But this was good. Thanks, babe.
Yeah, no, thank you. It was a good topic for a good time. It was a timely thing.
Yeah. Just love your people.
Yep.
That's the thing that we've taken away these past 2 days. Don't miss an opportunity for a word and a kindness.
Because you never know when that's the last opportunity. You don't know.
Yeah.
Right? So if you got things you want to see in the future, let us in on that. Otherwise, if you like what you're seeing or hearing, just subscribe.
Like, share, all the things. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate you, Graham. Thanks for hanging in there with us.
Yep. See you next time.
Okay, bye.
Don't stop